Are you looking to know the exact pros and cons for the Fort Lauderdale city? Then this video is for you. And this is according to the local real estate agent and the local residents. So what's up guys, welcome to my channel Living in Florida. This is Komal Acharya. I'm a local real estate agent here. So this video is actually, I want to throw my own analysis in that, and that's why I said it's like completely honest ground. This is not based on the statistics or the research online, but this is exactly like as a Florida resident and as a local real estate agent, what I feel about the Fort Lauderdale city, that what are the pros and cons. That's something I want to break down for you, so that makes your life a little bit easier, so that you can decide if this town is for you or not. So let me tell you the first fact, like why I will not love the Fort Lauderdale to live. Number one fact is the traffic. I hate traffic. I hate staying in the traffic hours and hours. And if you are working in some other city than the Fort Lauderdale, then it's crazy, because the highway here, the 95, is not even in the center of the city. So let's say if you're living in the east side, then you literally have to drive a lot local road, and then you can have the main highway. Turnpike, forget it. It's very far from the town, especially on the east side. If you are living on the west side, that's still not bad, but that's at the same time on the west side there are some disadvantages, which I'm going to talk about. Highways are too far, so the commute time literally increases, and in the downtown area the roads are too narrow, so that is the reason. And you imagine, like, there's 180,000 population of just this town. At the same time, you get tons of winter birds living in the town, so it's not even registered as a resident. They are on top of it. They are just visiting in certain months of the year, and on top, you just imagine the tourists are coming there. So you just imagine so many in and out traffic, and people living in the Fort Lauderdale, especially on the east side, they don't usually plan, if they want to go for the exercise, just go for the run or go for the bike with the family, or just a skateboard or motorbikes. So many different activities you can do and experience that the Floridian lifestyle while you're living there. Now, another fact, let's talk about the housing. So as a real estate agent, the number one facts everybody asks is, how is the housing market in the Fort Lauderdale? What kind of varieties you see in the housing? So according to real estate agent, I can say I helped so many buyers. We bought a house in the Fort Lauderdale. So the number one thing you need to consider while you're buying a house in the Fort Lauderdale is it's a very patchy area. So make sure you do your research in advance. It's not very straightforward. Let's say if you're coming with the family, with the kids, you do have to watch out the schools. That's number one priority. Everybody has to think. So the school wise, not all the schools ratings are not that great. Sometimes even in some zip codes you may find the high school is good, then the elementary and middle is not good, and the vice versa. So in that case, you literally have to do your advanced homework, and that's one of the big limitation I would feel in the Fort Lauderdale housing. If you don't have to worry about the school, then also the another fact you need to consider is the crime rates. Fort Lauderdale is one of the very famous city in the crime rate. So even burglary or breakouts, that's like a very common. You will hear in the forums or somewhere, even online you search, you will find that very commonly the residents express that problem. One app which is very helpful while you are searching for the good neighborhood it's called the Neighborhood app. So that's quite a bit famous here. Many of the people were expressive while they are inquiring about their neighborhoods. They and the other neighbors also express themselves a lot. Another thing I'll suggest is doing the homework by talking to the real estate professionals, because if you're moving from some other state, again, it's the limitation of doing the research online, right? So I will also suggest some other ways to do the research while you're using the online media, but at the same time, having somebody local here who knows the area very carefully, then that's like extra benefit on your side, and that takes out a lot of your stress. And you know, you don't have to literally kind of even go there to feel that area, because that person is there. Like we as a real estate company, I do the virtual tours sometimes, because it's, especially in this COVID time, it's so difficult to travel. So many of my clients, they don't even see the house and they buy it, because we give that great service that we literally go there, do the FaceTime or do the video calls, show them neighborhood, show them house, we show them facts about that area. Now let's talk about the varieties of the houses. The varieties of houses is crazy. You may find many options. You may find the house with the pool on the rooftop. It's very beautiful. You may find the house with the beautiful backyard. But yeah, the lot size is not big. You have to consider that. Some houses, like some neighborhoods, they do have the little bit of lot size more. But if you're looking for a modern contemporary house, then you may not find that. Condo housing is very common. Very, very common. On Ocean Boulevard itself, you'll find so many condos, and that's just across the beach. It's beautiful. You are just waking up every day on the ocean. So that's something advantage, I would say, if you are really want to feel that breeze. You know, I love that breeze when you go to the beach. You know, it's totally different. I live in Coral Springs, but I don't feel like I'm living in Florida sometime, because the breeze, and you know, you feel that difference of when you're literally close to the beach area. And the suburb lifestyle is totally different. I feel like we are more engaged in a personal lifestyle, and you do not experience the surroundings. In a Fort Lauderdale where you're living, you do experience the surrounding. That the nightlife is beautiful there. As I mentioned, you can do many like fun activities, like having the bikes, having the skateboardings, golf karting, so many things you can do around. And tremendous water activities, tremendous. Just in a walking distance, you may find so many, like a jet ski, boating. If you don't want to own your own, you can, you know, rent it. It's very cheap. Surfing, snorkeling, scuba diving, so many things you can do. And I've seen people who lives in Fort Lauderdale, their number one priority is they want to live near to the beach, so that they can experience this fun activities, like, you know, in their normal living. They don't have to plan to do those. Now let's talk about the most important point, which is like a cost of living of this town. So overall, Fort Lauderdale cost of living is higher than some other cities of the Florida, but I'm just comparing cities of the Florida itself, okay? But if you compare with the other states like California, New York, or Washington, compared to those states, this is much affordable, I would say. So even luxurious lifestyle. So that's why many of the businessmen, celebrities, they like to live in Fort Lauderdale and have their house here, even though their work is in some other states. Another part is like you don't have a state income tax, and it really helps overall to maintaining your cost of living. And 100% you get many opportunities, because this is a tourist place. So the economy of this town, it's quite a bit stronger. The real estate market constantly stays stronger. The cost of living stays affordable. I will not say the cheap. So don't take me wrong. It's not a cheaper side, but at the same time, it's not that costly. And you know, when you compare the lifestyle what you get in this area, the cost of living is 100%, I will put in affordable range. And luxurious market, if I talk about, that's also, you have so many choices to choose from. The beautiful part of this town is it has actually lot of Bay Area. So even though, let's say, you don't choose to live in just across the beach, but the communities, lakes, or the Bay Area is connected to the ocean. So that's why it's called the Venice of America, because you have so many water access. You may find it's just to go to the beach. And that's why if you love to keep a boat, if you love to keep a jet ski, that's one of your dream, then 100% choose this town, because you will explore a lot. If you even want to just use the kayak, or if you love doing the fishing, then also, you know, it's convenient. Like in your own community, you have those access very easily.
What do you like the most?
Probably the fishing here.
That's great.
it's beautiful. It's actually, it's a lot of things you can do. That's why I said affordable cost of living, because you can do so many different things living in that town, and you literally have to don't spend thousands of dollars to experience those things. And even the retail market is pretty strong. Like, the city supports the mom and pop shops, and that is the reason it's a lot of competition also. And that brings me to the next point, is many of the family little bit feel difficult to survive because it's actually the tourist place, as I said, so it's a seasonal also. You know, some part of the season you may not find that much traffic, but some part you may recover and you can get more stuff. I guess it's a hidden con because not everybody discuss about that, because overall the economy is almost similar to the other city, but at the same time the housing and all is still higher than the other city. And that is why, like, let's say if you are living on a rental, you are spending like 10 to 15% actual more, and sometimes even 40% more than the other cities you can live in. So if your budget is very tight, then I will not recommend living in the Fort Lauderdale, but you can start with some suburb city. And another thing, when you live near to any of the beach city, their sea rising levels are really increasing. So it's basically because of this global warming, and you see that many of the other states are experiencing those things like a fire, unexpected fires, or even the hurricanes. So those things are part of the global warming, and it's if you see the graph, it's quite a bit increasing, and they're projecting it will be more increasing. So if you are living in the cities like where you're closer to the beach area, then the flood risk are much higher. Choosing about the area based on the flood risk, that's quite a bit trickier, I would say, in the Florida, because Florida's majority of the city actually falls in a flood zone. So it's like mild to moderate. When somebody says that, we consider is like none or low risk and don't even care about. But in a Fort Lauderdale, even though it's considered mild to moderate in some areas, then you may get the floods. You never know, because the level, the elevation is very uneven, because these communities are built very old. Like some communities are built like 1939. It's very old. So let's say somebody built a house after, like, in earlier years just next to you, then they increase the elevation, because at that time, 1930s and all, it was different, you know. It's totally, elevations were overall different in the city and surroundings. But right now it's completely different. Now city is allowing to give you more elevation, and because of that your property would suffer. Like, you will not see in a whole street other properties getting suffered, but just your property. And that's something happened to one of my client, and that was my worst experience I went through. And now onwards, for all the buyers, I recommend to check the elevation certificate, to check with the insurance company how many times the seller has claimed the insurance company. Those are the things would tell you exactly that is there any flood issues or not. So be careful when you're buying a house in Fort Lauderdale. So this is a huge I would say the shady con, because not everybody will be talking about that, and it's something goes by the experience. Because you know, if somebody has their own experience, then only, you know, you would know it. So now this brings me to the next point, is the housing. Like, you know, what kind of housing you get. I did say earlier it's a varieties of the housing, but at the same time you have old constructions also, because these are built in 1930s, and eventually majority of the houses were built like 1970s. And I would say you may find 2020 new construction also, but you may find 1930 built also, because many of people even love buying the older house and they just take it off from the ground and build the new one. So you may find those kind of modern contemporary style. At the same time, you may find the traditional style. So if you love something to build by yourself, yes, in this town you will get your choice. And the lot sizes are very various, because most of the community doesn't have HOA, and because of that you have very uneven lot sizes. Like some house would get the bigger lot, some smaller lot. So make sure all this kind of homework when you are buying a house. There are so many small pieces you have to inquire about. It's not kind of cookie cutter plans you may get in the Fort Lauderdale. I hope hope this video was helpful to you. I try to break down the main pros and cons. Of course, this doesn't cover everything, but yes, definitely I wanted to tell you some of the facts which are, according to me, I feel that you need to think over before you choose the Fort Lauderdale as your own hometown. And if you're thinking to move here, you know where to catch me. You will find my contact information below, and again, 24/7 I am available for your help. If you want to see even just some neighborhoods, comment me below. I will get you there. So you don't have to even drive here to see these areas. We have set up very easy stressless system where you can get to see the area through our eyes, and then you can narrow down the option and you can decide to move here and buy your house. So alright guys, I hope it was helpful again, and I will see you in my next video.